Time is just gone 18 minutes past 9 a.m. Now, where we are as a state of the economy, and the latest we've heard is about Tito Mboweni pushing for major retirement changes in South Africa. Now, this is seen as a strange move by the minister, particularly looking at the rights to access pension funds to pay debt and looking at South Africa, where we are in terms of debt levels. Most of our debt is in consumables, in durable goods such as appliances, clothing, cars. Now, these obviously will not assist in wealth creation in the country. And we need to obviously look at different avenues, other means of obviously investing. And this is one of the reasons why we are talking this morning with the Chief Executive Officer of Kwantu Private Game Reserve, Shakir Jeeva. Shakir, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Brother Knight. Shukran for having me on the show this morning.
Yes, welcome to the show, and always a pleasure having you with us. Now, I just painted a bleak picture into where we are in South Africa, but there are people obviously looking at investments, where to invest, how to invest, and that's why we're talking about Sapphire investments on the system. And let's talk about Sapphire investments first and foremost. If you could give us an insight into Sapphire investments and who you are.
Sure. Alhamdulillah, Sapphire Global, we started that some time ago, and I think in line with our business philosophy of trying to offer Muslims an opportunity to access Sharia compliant products. So alhamdulillah, we've started Sapphire Global, and Sapphire Global, we offer various products. Alhamdulillah, we are fully licensed for that. We've got all the necessary expertise and authorizations for that, and of course we assist people with various investment options, insurance options, as well as life cover. So all of their financial needs. And I think just to answer your question succinctly, I think that what we actually do is give people advice. And I think that's the most important part of what we do, because there's no one size fits all options. And it's important for us to understand what people need, what is the end objective, so that we can give them a solution which suits their needs and objectives and unique circumstances.
Well, certainly, and I think what you make is a very, very important point here, Shakir, where you're talking about offering advice and no one-size-fits-all approach, because each person has his own circumstances, his unique circumstances, and he's got his own needs, but also at the same time, from an investment perspective, he obviously wants to look at, how he can make most of his investments. And that today, especially in today's time, where people are living in very, very difficult times, they don't know what to do, who to turn to, and it's an uncertainty. And I suppose this is where the value add comes in terms of the advice that Sapphire Investment would provide.
That's correct. And I think, as you quite rightly said, I think there's so much uncertainty in today's times, especially with the civil unrest, which took place recently as well. And we've been trying to assist quite a number of clients with regards to their Sasria. And on the investment side as well, I think that it's always good for people to approach professionals that can assist them, offer them the correct solutions, because especially with the recent unrest and uncertainty, a lot of people are now looking for offshore exposure, where they can kind of put some money offshore. And that's where we come in to kind of assist people in the correct way, in the legal way, in the way that, will make sure they don't have any problems down the line, and obviously giving them an opportunity to grow their investments, to grow their wealth. And of course, what we've also found now is that, some of the clients, they look to invest money offshore just to get offshore exposure. But there's now an increased number of people that are actually looking to invest money offshore with a view of actually leaving the country and immigrating. So when one makes an investment overseas, depending on the type of investment and the value and, meeting the criteria, one is able to access a residency permit or citizenship as well. And we found now an increase in that, which is now taking place globally.
Well, certainly, and I think I like what you're saying, because I think even with Sasria as well, many people who have lost basically whatever they have worked for their entire life and whatever they're going to recover by way of Sestria as well. And like you said, is they may not open up businesses in the country and they look at other avenues. Now, let's talk about the products that are available. And if you could just give us a bit more of an insight into products, specific products that that Sapphire Investments offer.
Sure. So at Sapphire Global, as I mentioned, we cover the entire sphere of financial services or financial offerings. So that, for example, would cover what we refer to as short term, which covers like your insurance, for example, commercial lines or personal lines. So for businesses or for people's personal insurance. And in that regard, again, going back to what I mentioned previously with regards to offering the advice, and I think that's where we would come in to assist people. So we can assist people should they have existing policies in place. We can assist them and take over those policies, irrespective of where those policies are, with which insurer is currently insuring them. And then of course we can also in giving them advice. And again, that's where we come in, as I mentioned, in terms of the advice, because I think unfortunately as well, and as you alluded to previously, with regards to SASI, there are some people unfortunately were not sufficiently covered, and that's where they then run the risk of putting in a claim and then finding out at that stage that they're not correctly covered. And then on the investment side, where we come in is we offer people various investments. So for example, we can assist with what is referred to as tax-free savings accounts. We can assist people with investing in various Sharia-compliant funds. We also have our own Sapphire Global Investment Fund that we currently operate at the moment, and alhamdulillah, that's performing quite well relative to the other funds. And of course, as I mentioned, giving people offshore exposure. And lastly, we also offer what is called life cover. So again, all in a Sharia-compliant manner, where we can assist them with what is referred to as longer-term policies as well. But again, as I said, the product is one offering that we do, but I think the most important part is advice. And our objective is to assist people with education so that they understand what they are able to do, they understand what the product covers, and they also understand that what the end result would be. Because we have many clients that come to us and after 10, 15 years of being with a particular product, at that stage, they then find out that maybe it didn't meet the requirements or didn't meet the expectations. And that's what we're trying to avoid, to kind of assist people in that regard.
Well, I think this is important what you're saying in terms of meeting expectations, because at the end of the day, it's about the type of advice that you get. And I suppose this is where you would recommend listeners to use a financial advisor, a broker, instead of going directly to the company, because, one thing is to obviously tailor make the investment to suit your purposes or whatever other product offering you've got. That is the one side of things. But getting a financial advisor, getting solid financial advice is important, because there are many other factors that sometimes people don't take into account. There are issues like tax and taxation. And, we know what SARS has been doing lately as well, looking at people who have been investing offshore, and looking at some of the tax implications. So all of this, one needs to put into perspective so you have a complete picture, number one. But secondly, at the end of the day, you know exactly what you are in for ultimately.
Correct. And I think just to add to that as well, that, sometimes people feel that getting an advisor on board would cost them an extra amount. In that regard, obviously, the advisors or the broker, they work on a commission basis, which is paid by the provider. And normally with the pricing, firstly, all of the pricing and cost is very transparent, but especially on the insurance perspective, the cost which is paid to the broker does not add to the client's cost or their premium, the monthly premium. And of course, looking at the small cost which one would incur when getting a broker involved, I think it's very minuscule compared to, let's say, the objective and the advice. Because obviously, I think especially over the last year or 2 years, we've seen many people which what we refer to now as, we could say retail investors. Nowadays it's become so easy for one to invest, yourself. And what's very topical nowadays is the cryptocurrency and stable coins. And it's so easy nowadays to invest. And alhamdulillah, many people are making money in that regard. But I think there's also a lot more people that are losing funds because maybe they're not doing things in the correct manner, or investing in the correct way, or or getting the correct, the necessary cover as well. So we always advise people, as you've mentioned, to kind of go with a professional, because there's nothing worse than doing something for 5 years or 10 or 15 years, and then finding out down the line, for example, there may have been maybe some tax which has been missed. And of course, as you mentioned, the drive with SARS now to obviously try and ensure that they're getting their full taxes from all the citizens, or finding out that the investment or the insurance not meet the objective when the time comes for that as well.
Well, certainly. Now, Shakir, for anyone wanting to get in touch with you with Sapphire Global, what do they need to do?
Sure, no problem. They're welcome to get in touch with us. They're welcome to visit our website, which is www.sapphireglobalfs. That's SAPPHIRE, sapphireglobalfs.com. Or they can send us an email on info@sapphireglobalfs.com, or they're welcome to give us a call on 041 001 0184.
Well, Shakir, Jazakallah khairan so much for that and for your time with us this morning here on News and Views and Salam Media. We wish you all the best, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Shakir Jeeva, CEO of Kwantu Private Game Reserve, with us this morning on Sapphire Global Investments.
Sacrifice, share. This Eid al-Adha, donate your Qurbani through Africa Muslims Agency. We ensure that your Udhiyah Qurbani not only feeds the poor, but creates sustainable incomes for local farmers, brings the practice of sacrifice to the villages, and shares the spirit of